I couldn't believe what I was reading on my phone. A post from Emily, my fiancée of 3 years, was trending across our shared friends list. The words jumped out like daggers. Excited to hyphenate my last name with my ex. I dropped my phone onto the couch, my mind spinning. My ex? The man she had supposedly moved on from? The man I had been trying to build a future with? Every ounce of disbelief, betrayal, and confusion hit me all at once. I felt my stomach twist, and yet somehow I stayed still. This wasn't a moment for rash emotion. This was a moment for clarity. I replayed the last conversation we had, where she'd laughed off even the slightest suggestion of lingering feelings for him. She had been charming, sweet, and confident that I would never question her loyalty. But now that illusion was shattered. Emily had made a public declaration that not only humiliated me, but called into question the entire foundation of our relationship. I stared at the notification again, reading the comments pouring in. Friends shocked, acquaintances gossiping, and strangers weighing on our private lives. It was surreal, watching betrayal unfold on social media instead of in a quiet conversation. But one thing became crystal clear. Emily had decided that her past, her ex, and her audacious need to shock the world were more important than honesty, commitment, or respect. I grabbed my keys and headed out. I needed to see her, to hear her explain, but not because I wanted to beg or plead. I wanted to witness the truth, the raw honesty or lack thereof, behind her audacious post. When I arrived, she greeted me with that same confident smile, unaware that the world, or at least I, saw through the mask. "Michael, you saw it, right? Is it exciting?" she said, practically bouncing. I mean, I always said I'd keep my identity, and now, finally, it feels right. I held up a hand, cutting her off. "Emily, stop. Don't try to sugarcoat this. You're announcing a hyphenation with your ex. This is an identity. This is an excitement. This is betrayal." Her eyes widened slightly, surprised by the sharpness of my voice. She hadn't expected me to confront her. Not like this. Not now. Not in front of the consequences her own choices had created. And for the first time, I saw a flicker of hesitation, a crack in her perfect composure. I continued, my tone calm but firm. "I've built a life with you, Emily. I've trusted you. And now you're making a statement to the world that my trust, my love, and our relationship mean nothing compared to your past. Do you even understand what that does to someone who chose to believe in you?" She tried to respond, but I held up my hand again. No excuses. No explanations yet. I need the truth, and I need it now. Not for social media, not for appearances. For us, or at least what us used to mean. Emily hesitated, her usual confidence wavering as she tried to gather her words. "Michael, it's complicated. We didn't... it's not what you think. I just feel like..." I cut her off, my voice calm but unwavering. "Not what I think. Emily, you're publicly announcing a hyphenation with your ex. That doesn't leave much room for ambiguity. This isn't complicated. It's disrespectful and hurtful. You've crossed a line, one I didn't know existed in our relationship until now." Her hands trembled slightly, betraying the composure she had worked so hard to maintain. "I didn't think it would affect you like this. I thought it was just a symbolic thing. It doesn't mean anything about us." I shook my head slowly, disbelief mixing with resolve. "Symbolic? You're calling the world to witness a bond that excludes me, that undermines what we built together. Symbolic? This is betrayal. And I won't ignore it, not silently, not politely. I need answers, Emily, not excuses." Her eyes darted away for a moment, then back to mine, filled with a mix of guilt, defensiveness, and frustration. I could see she hadn't expected me to confront her so directly, so firmly, so without fear. This was the first time in weeks, or maybe months, that she realized her actions had real consequences. I took a deep breath, forcing my own racing heart to steady. I need to know why. Why him? Why now? Why publicly? Because I deserve the truth, not a curated version you post for likes or attention. She opened her mouth to speak, paused, and then said quietly, almost like she was admitting a secret she had long avoided. "Because I didn't feel you were enough for me. I wanted something else, something exciting, something unresolved from my past. I didn't think about how it would hurt you. The words hit me like a cold wave, but instead of anger, I felt clarity. The truth was out, stripped of pretense, raw and unfiltered. Her motivations, selfish as they were, explained everything, but didn't excuse anything. I could have reacted with rage, with humiliation, but I chose calm, choosing to reclaim my dignity instead of feeding into the chaos she had created. "Emily," I said, voice firm, controlled, yet carrying the weight of hurt and finality. "I hear you. I understand now. But understanding doesn't mean acceptance. I won't participate in this. I won't tolerate this disrespect. And if you want to move forward with anyone or anything that disregards me, that's on you. But I'm done letting you make choices that destroy me from the inside out." She looked at me, stunned, as if the words I spoke were alien to her. And in that stunned silence, I realized I had gained something far more valuable than any argument could have given me: control over my emotions, over my dignity, and over my future. The room was silent after my words, heavy with the weight of truth and consequence. Emily's eyes searched mine, as if trying to find crack, a weakness, some flicker of doubt she could exploit. But there was none. I had said what needed to be said, and now it was up to her to process it. I stepped back, giving both of us space. "You need to think about what you're doing, Emily. Not for me, not for appearances. For yourself. Because right now, you're making choices that reflect exactly who you are, and I'm not going to be collateral damage anymore." Her face paled slightly, the confident mask she always wore slipping just enough to reveal vulnerability. For the first time, I saw the real person behind the bravado, a person making mistakes, blinded by excitement and past attachments. And while empathy stirred, I knew it couldn't cloud my judgment. My boundaries, my self-respect, were non-negotiable. I left her apartment that morning with a clarity I hadn't felt in months. The betrayal stung, yes, but also illuminated a truth I needed to embrace. My worth wasn't tied to her choices, her past, or her desire for attention. My life, my dignity, and my future were mine to protect, and no one, no ex, no fiancé, no social media post, could strip that from me without my consent. Over the next few days, Emily's posts continued, each one a reminder of the audacity of her decisions. But for me, they became less about pain and more about empowerment. I no longer reacted impulsively. I didn't check her updates obsessively or allow jealousy to dictate my mood. Instead, I focused on reclaiming my own life, my own identity, and my own happiness. One afternoon, I finally called her, not to argue, not to negotiate, but to set boundaries clearly and firmly. "Emily," I said, voice steady, "I need you to understand something. The life we were building, the trust we shared, it's no longer negotiable. I'm stepping away from anything that compromises my peace. I hope you can learn from this and move forward responsibly, but I will no longer be a part of this chaos." She was silent on the other end, and in that silence, I felt relief, not anger. For the first time, I recognized that my power wasn't in forcing her to see reason or guilt. It was in choosing myself, my values, and my future. As I hung up, I looked around my apartment, sunlight streaming in, and felt something I hadn't in months: freedom. Freedom from manipulation, freedom from betrayal, freedom from anyone else's recklessness. I realized that life doesn't stop when someone else makes shocking, selfish choices. Life continues, and those who control their own reactions, those who protect their own dignity, ultimately thrive. By evening, I had started planning my next steps. Personal goals, passions, and boundaries firmly in place. The world outside my window felt full of possibilities. And as I sat in quiet reflection, I understood that the real victory wasn't exposing her choices or confronting her. It was reclaiming my own life, my own power, and my own peace.